Hey guys, it's me, Shanna Montana, and I'm just here to let you all know that our new Savage Summer collection dropped on July 3rd, and we are loving the support. So be sure to visit our website today at www.tobesingleornottobe.com so you can make your purchase and rock your apparel all Savage Summer long. You are listening to the podcast To Be Single or Not to Be by Shanna Montana, a podcast where we talk about the single life, dating, and relationships so you can make a decision at the end of each episode to be single or not to be. Topic is romance and relationships. And I really wanted to talk about this topic because sometimes I think that people forget that romance is not dead, it's still cool, and chivalry is still necessary. So, additionally, when it comes to relationships, I think it should be a requirement for us all. May not be, but that's just my 2 cents. However, I know that romance and relationships go hand in hand in my world and also in the world of today's special guest. So I wanted to bring on someone who I know is ready and willing to talk about this topic and someone who can absolutely add some value to the conversation. So for today's guest, we have R&B recording artist Mallory. If you would say hi to the listeners.
Hey, how are y'all?
Hopefully everybody's doing great and we are so glad to have you. So we are going to get right to it. So up first, I'm going to ask, since we said romance and relationships, romance is always a hot topic and really is the basis of this podcast to some extent. So tell us, where do you currently stand with your love life? Are you in a relationship? Are you seeking love? Are you letting it come to you? Where's your stance these days?
No, I'm not in a relationship, but at the same time, I've never been someone to just actively seek love.
Okay.
Like I'm dating, but
Mhm.
when it comes, it comes. When it goes, it goes.
Right. So are you a person that says, because this is kind of like I think a 2020 term or maybe 2019, dating with a purpose. And I read somewhere recently, we're always on social media, and I just saw this quote and I felt kind of like two ways about it. So it said something along the lines of, we get so caught up in dating, I would say, with the purpose or with the intention of marriage in mind, that we kind of forget to enjoy the experience. And at first it kind of resonated with me like, yeah, I need to kind of back up off of, my intention with dating. But then I was like, how can you date without intention? So
True.
that said, do you feel like you're a person that kind of, being in the world of dating, that you kind of lead with that you are dating with purpose, or do you just kind of date fall where they may?
So one, I think I can definitely relate to what that meme said.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I do think it depends on what your goals are in life. Like a lot of
Right.
people, one of their ultimate goals is to be married, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I can see myself being married. I would like to one day be married, but I've never been the person who had that as a goal, you know?
Same.
So when I'm dating, if I'm in a relationship, clearly me and this person want to be together for an extended period of time. So at that
Right.
point, then more intentionality is put into it. And, eventually you start thinking and talking about marriage. But if I'm just casually dating, I'm not thinking about marriage. Like I'm enjoying your company at the time. And that's
Right.
about it.
Yeah, and I think that's how it should be. But as we've talked about on this podcast before, Disney movies, romance novels and movies, Netflix chick flicks, they kind of make us or force us or lead us to think that, up on by the third date, we should already be thinking about who's going to be the maid of
Yeah,
honor.
that's crazy.
And it's insane. It's insanity. And I'm along the same lines as you. I think that, in my life, I pretty much do everything with intention, but the intention is going to depend on the person and the path that we're going on. I'm not going to just immediately jump into something and say, oh, this is the man that I think I'm going to marry just
Right.
because we've had a good time for 3 dates.
Right.
It takes time to really get to know who people are. And I'm the same as you. And people for some reason are surprised when I tell them that I've never been the girl or the young lady to sit around and imagine what color my wedding is going to be, what my bridesmaids are gonna wear. Like, I don't think about stuff like that. And I think the older that I get, the more I lean towards, if I get married, I probably would do something destination to make it easier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that way versus trying to plan it out. Because as much of a planner as I am in my personal life, when it comes to things like that, no, I don't sit around dreaming about planning something that's going to cost me 20 to $30,000 anyway.
Listen.
No. It's kind of like I heard somebody say or saw it. Somebody was like, "What is your dream job?" And they were like, "Who dreams about a job?" Like, my dream vacation, maybe, but
Right.
I said I dream about a job. So that makes perfect sense. Now, tell me this. On a previous episode, we did an entire episode on the notion that you are single until you are married. What do you think about that philosophy?
It's funny because somebody just got on me about this the other day, and I really had to walk them through, my philosophy. But
So please walk us through.
so I've always said that I'm single until I get married, and it has nothing to do with disrespecting my relationship if I'm in one or the man that
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a relationship with. But here's the thing. One, if I can't file my taxes as married,
Say
then I
that.
don't know what to tell you.
Right. Say that. Say
And
that.
then the other thing is, I grew up in the church, and I'm a Christian, and I do look at a lot of like relationship things on a
Mm-hmm.
biblical term.
Mm-hmm.
So God says that when we make that commitment in front of him, then we become one. And if
Right.
I haven't made that commitment, baby, we two.
Right.
We are
We
two.
too. It's the two for me. We too. I can stand right there with you because I think in a sense, it makes perfect sense what you said, but I think that people have to understand. I think some people try to use that as just a cop out, to
Right.
not be committed or to cheat or to do things when it's like, yeah, essentially we are single technically and under the eyes of God. However, if we've made a commitment and we have not yet got married, it does not mean that you should be out acting single, dealing with other people or
Right.
cheating or things of that nature. So your philosophy absolutely makes sense. And I think that people just have to have some context attached to it in order to fully understand it.
True.
Now, tell me when it comes to, where you are in your romantic life, have you ever said to yourself or gotten in a space where you've said, I'm going to intentionally just have a single season, or have the cards just not fallen in that direction?
Um, so I haven't really just decided to be single or, outside of a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. But what I will say is that, again, like I don't look for love. I don't look for relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
so when it does happen, it's like a surprise.
As
It's
it
kind
should
of
be.
like that's how the flow happened and I'm with it. So then when I'm not in that situation, I go back to the mindset of, okay, well, I was here before,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been okay. I will be okay. I've enjoyed being single before. So
Mm-hmm.
let's switch that mindset over and intentionally enjoy being single, because there are a
Ooh,
lot
I
of
love
things
it.
that I can pivot and work on and better and progress in while I'm single that I can't really do or I don't do enough of while I'm in a relationship. So again, I haven't just said like, I think I'm gonna be single for a few months, but I've definitely been intentional in enjoying it.
And that makes perfect sense. And I love the way you put that because I think it was just a different spin on saying it, to enjoy being single as much as you would enjoy being in that relationship, because you
Mm-hmm.
are very correct that the amount of time that you have for yourself is different. The amount of
Mm-hmm.
money you spend is different. The
Oh
things that you
yes.
do is different. You literally sometimes when, I get off from my day job, I may literally decide that I'm going to take a nap that may turn into slumber for the next day.
Yep.
However, I think it's different when you're in a relationship, because even if you aren't married, if you're in a committed relationship, you are concerned about that other person's well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So you're concerned about, things like, what are we going to eat? What are we going to do? Do you want to do anything? Did you have plans? So it's just like
Exactly.
you move completely different. So I think we have to do exactly what you said when we are single, and being intentional in that we can make progress, we can grow, we can learn things, we can change, we can do all those things with our own permission, and nobody
Yes.
else. The beauty of it is we don't have to worry about anybody else's input except for our own. So
Nobody.
yes, nobody else's. So I absolutely, and I think sometimes when I'm a person that, as I say, deal with people, or as I go through life, I'll start to think about, oh, I think this is about time. I might want to settle down, and then I'll have a moment or something will happen. I'm like, nah, I think I'm good sitting over here by myself,
Yep.
where I don't need anybody's validation, criticism,
Yeah.
permission, any of that, because we all know relationships have the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it's like on certain days or certain times, it's like, yeah, let me just stay over here in this seat alone. But I completely, I get it. Now tell me this, do you have, or do you think people should kind of create a relationship, almost like a mission statement or a mantra or a philosophy? Like, do you have something when it comes to love and romance? You know, kind of like we talked about. Some people may say, oh, I'm single until I'm married. That's how I move in the world. Some people may say I date with intention. You know, different things like that. Do you have like a romance or a love philosophy for yourself?
I think for me, it's more so based on the lessons I've learned and what I figured out I need or want. Um,
Okay.
Again, it is going to change from person to person, because like my goals
Mm-hmm.
are different from somebody else's. But because my ultimate goal in life is not to be married, I can't say that I have a mantra on that. But
Mm-hmm.
what I will say is, like, anytime that I even think I'm getting close to possibly being with somebody, or anytime I start to develop feelings for somebody or anything like that, I definitely repeat to myself over and over again, okay, remember what you learned last time, and remember
Mm,
what you decided you want, and remember
mm,
what you figured out you need.
mm.
Because it reminds me, if this new person is not those things, then you don't even need to be going there at all.
Ooh, say that.
Like,
You know what? And that's something we all have to start doing, because I think, and I will speak for me personally, I get involved in situations and then that person's character shows up or something
yeah,
happens. And then that reminds me, oh, I don't like that. I didn't
yeah,
like that in the last one. Versus I think when we are starting new courtships or whatever you want to call it, I think it's a good thing to just go ahead and remind ourselves,
mm-hmm,
if this person is displaying XYZ that I don't like or that I don't want or I don't need, then this probably is not it. And I think that will help us to not move further into these relationships when we shouldn't.
yeah,
That makes
definitely,
so much sense, so much sense. But I think it's something that we tend to forget, because when you are newly interested in someone or dealing with someone, we know that those love endorphins are going off, that,
yeah.
that love drug is so active, and we tend to think, we're just on this high.
Yes.
And the first couple of times a person may do something, we give them the benefit of our doubt. Oh, they won't
Mm-hmm.
do it again. They didn't mean it. And then they do it the fourth time, you still sitting there trying to justify it,
Yeah.
when now that I'm glad. Now this brings me to something that I want to ask your opinion on. So say if a woman is actively seeking, seeking love, and or she doesn't have to be actively seeking. I'll go back from that. So say if a woman is dealing with a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing all the things, she said the Sierra prayer, and he's doing all those things, and you are months in, and the behavior changes. How do you think a woman should navigate that, or a person? I'm not just going to put it on a woman. How do you think a person should navigate that? Should they take a step back and evaluate how big or how small are these behaviors? Do they ignore it and hope it changes? How do you find the balance of not nitpicking every little thing to know, is this something I should address, something I should let go? Where should I stand on this? How do they do that ultimately without, driving themselves crazy?
I think that it's a loaded answer, so I'll try to be on
Okay.
the shorter side with it. But I've
Okay.
learned this, the hard way. So, one, just like I said, I have to think through, okay, I've learned this, 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 and this. And if that person
Mm-hmm.
doesn't match what I've learned, then I don't need to go there. I
Mm-hmm.
also have to look at myself and say, well, last time I behaved this way, or last
Mm.
time I didn't speak up, or last time I spoke up when I shouldn't have, or I should have let it go. And I have to like remember that as well, and say, this
Okay.
time around I have to do better too.
Right.
Um so I say that to say, if somebody's behavior changes and you have realized that you don't like that behavior that it's changed into, then you absolutely, no matter how much it hurts you, no matter how much it hurts the other person, I feel like there's no option, especially when you're growing in age and
Mm-hmm.
maturity, to sit there and let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a minuscule issue to the other person, your feelings are still valid. Now, does that
Mm-hmm.
mean that you need to act out? No.
Right.
But if it's bothering you, then it's bothering you. So you
Right.
have to hold yourself accountable to figuring out, is that something I want to live with, or do I
Mm,
need to walk away?
mm. And that is, oh my God, that is so true because I was talking to a friend recently about communication in relationships and recognizing, even if, like you said, your feelings are very valid. You have the right to feel however you want to feel. But we talked about the fact of communication to really sit in something and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this worth bringing up?
Mm-hmm.
Is this worth sitting on to evaluate and maybe look and see if it happens later? Or is it worth sitting on to evaluate and let it go because it's so small?
Right.
Or, is this worth a huge conversation and possible blow up right now? And what I found, everything you said is 1,000% true. And I feel like I'm probably too old to just be learning this, but I feel like I have just gotten to that place where it's like, because I think what happens is relationship trauma is real.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with someone, say if things are going well, they may do something that triggers something from the past or
Mm-hmm.
something that just reminds you of your past. And you immediately go into that mode like, oh, no, 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 I'm not dealing with this again.
Yep.
Even though, the last person did it 68 times, this person has done it once on a smaller scale, but
Right.
it still affects you almost the same way. So I think you have to be able to, like you were saying, evaluate it, understand what is really happening, know if I need to communicate this. And if I do, understand how that conversation may go, but also being able to evaluate. I found in some situations when I would say bit my tongue, so to speak, I was glad I did
Mm-hmm.
because things ended up coming full circle where I had assumed something. I was about to blow something out of
Oh, yes.
proportion. And it was a situation where, not saying I'm a person that doesn't like to say I'm sorry, but I was going to probably end up apologizing at the end of the situation,
Yeah.
even though I'm the one who started it. So I think it's certainly what you said. And I think we all just have to do a better job of being able to articulate our thoughts and communicate within our own self before we
Mm-hmm.
pull somebody else into it. Because I think,
Absolutely.
yes, it's almost like it's human nature to, if somebody does something to you, it's almost like if somebody hits you, you want to hit them back.
Mm-hmm.
It's so like if somebody says something that you think is crazy, you immediately want to say, something back to them, or something happens. But it's like, learn to take a step back. And sometimes, like I always say, we're human, we are imperfect, we are not always going to get it right.
Right.
But we have to try time and time again to make sure, because what I also have learned in talking to married couples who've been married for a while, and this is universal, people I've talked to on different instances, they tell me 85 to 90% of the relationship is good, the rest is bullshit. And I talked to somebody, one of my friends who's been married over 10 years. She's been with her husband, like high school sweethearts kind of deal. She's like, I've been with this man almost 20, 25 years. And there's some stuff to this day that he still don't do that I like. And she like, you just got to learn how to deal with it.
Of
Because
course.
on the
Yeah.
other side of it, he gets it right. So I'm just like, all right, why they can't be 100% perfect? So, the same way that we are. So I get it. And I love that advice. Now, this is a segue, but a topic that I know you wanted to share some of your experience on. And I know that, anxiety and depression are things that are not new, but they are new to the Black community to
Mm-hmm.
some extent in regards to talking about them openly. Because I tell people in 2020, therapy, anxiety, depression, things like that are getting help for those things has become more normalized than I've ever
Mm-hmm.
seen. And so, tell us a little bit about your journey in these areas.
Oh man. Okay. So when I was a freshman in college, um, a lot of the things that I was already dealing with and some new things all just kind of came together and blew up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I was away from home in a new setting. And so I was trying to navigate how to deal with all these things. And after,
Mm-hmm.
growing up in an environment that we didn't talk about mental health, and the
Mm-hmm.
strong Black woman meant you didn't cry, you just dealt with it and shoved it down. After dealing with everything like that, when things started to boil over, I just didn't know how to handle it. And I ended
Mm-hmm.
up going through a severe bout of depression, because I'll stop and say depression can happen for 5 minutes. It can happen for
Mm-hmm.
a day. It can happen for a week, and you can be
Mm-hmm.
fine, or it can last longer than that. So
Right.
I ended up going through a severe bout of depression where where I stopped going to class, and that was weird for me because I loved school.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped going to class. My grades dropped. I stopped eating. Like, I wouldn't eat for days.
Mm.
I wouldn't come out of my dorm room. I slept all the time. And I would even do things like sit there and talk to God and ask him, like, how can I not be here without killing myself?
Mm.
So I ended up coming back home during one of the breaks,
Mm-hmm.
and something just told me to look up depression. I looked
Mm-hmm.
it up, and every single symptom I checked off, and that
Mm-hmm.
scared me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the first time in my life that it hit me like, hey, you need to go get help.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I didn't want, even though I didn't necessarily want to be here in life at that time, I also didn't want to get to the point where I was trying to take my life.
Right,
So
right.
I said, hey, I need to go get help. I literally ran downstairs and I told my mom, I don't know how to find them, but I need a therapist.
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
And so from there, I started going to therapy for, I think, a few months. And then the therapist sent me to a psychiatrist who is able to actually prescribe you medication. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was put on hormonal medications. And a lot of people don't know this. Depression can also be caused by a drop in hormones. And
Mm.
little did I know, my hormones, there's a hormone called serotonin, and it causes you to be happy. It's the happy hormone.
Right.
It had dropped severely. And that's when my depression took the hardest effect.
Did
So
were you able to find out like how it dropped, or does it just happen sometimes?
they can't tell necessarily how it dropped, but I think because of just the timing of everything, I think it dropped because I stopped working out as much. Because when you work out, more serotonin is released into your body.
Okay.
And I used to work out very heavily in high school and college. And then when
Okay.
I started feeling kind of bad, I stopped working out. And that's when everything went haywire.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's why.
Okay.
Um, but you know, they put me on medications, and they basically told me, hey, this medication doesn't mean you're crazy. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that something is wrong with you as a person, but we need to balance your hormones out so that we can help you to start thinking more clearly and get you back
Mm-hmm.
to a better state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed on those medications for about a year. And then when I was ready to get off of them, they said, cool, let's try everything without the medications. So I started recovery. And then after that, I basically just realized, if somebody else, or if somebody like me, because I was a cheerleader, I was in Girl
Mm-hmm.
Scouts, I was involved in every organization you could think of. I was an AB student, you know, I was social. If somebody
Mm-hmm.
like me can go through it, somebody else like me is going through it. Because we always think
Absolutely.
that if you look like you're fine, if you're
Mm.
functioning normally, then nothing's wrong, but that's not the
Yeah.
case. So it
Right.
just made me want to be a face and relate to
Yeah.
other people, because we don't talk about it. So there's so many other people who can be going through it.
Absolutely. And around like what age were you when you were able to kind of come out of it, or did it happen like in the same year?
When I was diagnosed and put on meds, I was 19.
Okay. And I asked that
And
for just a reference point because people who would think, we tend to think a 19-year-old when they say, I don't feel good or XYZ, oh, you'll be fine.
no.
You'll get over, you young, you all right. So it's like whether you're 19, 29, 39, if
Mm-hmm.
it's happening, it's happening. And it's great that you were able to, kind of tap into that, to look it up, to realize, okay, this is what is happening to me, and this is how I need to proceed to get help. So when you let your mom know, at the time we need to find a therapist some way, somehow, how did she receive that message from you?
Um, my mom is another Black parent, and again, it's not talked about. So I don't even know if she knew anything about
Mm-hmm.
it, to help me. So there wasn't a lot that she could say, but
Mm-hmm.
she definitely went into action and found me a therapist.
Good, good. And that's more so what I was trying to find out. Was she receptive, or did she try to push you off like, girl, just lay down? Or,
No.
okay, well, that is good. Did you, I would say in your community, maybe of friends or family, did you face any kind of backlash or pushback, or people kind of like not believing you if you tried to tell your story about it?
I haven't experienced that, at least not to my face.
Good.
And when I first realized that's what was going on. I didn't tell a lot of people as far as my friends. It took me a few years to actually start speaking publicly about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it took people back and made them have to face me seriously, because people know how I am and how I go through life. Like, you would never know anything was wrong. Even when my world is falling apart, you won't
Right.
know. And so
Right.
when I said that, I think it was kind of like, for her to say this,
Yeah.
something's really going on. Like, she's
It's real.
serious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. And I'm the same way. I think, because I've sat through situations, the day before I went through a heartbreak or something happened. And, if you were to go back and look at a picture or look at something, I can literally look at a picture like I was so sad that day.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked so happy,
Right.
so we know how to put our game faces on. Now, what would you say, outside of, you were able to get assistance with therapy and get your medication? Were there any other things that you did personally to kind of help revive you and get you back to a good place?
This is something that actually I still have to do every day, but
Mm-hmm.
I just find things that make me feel good and that I enjoy. I think that our generation, like, from the teens even up to like the people in their 40s right now, we're so
Mm-hmm.
hardwired to just grind, 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 grind,
Right.
grind.
Right.
And we think that if you're not busy, then you're not working. But,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to think like that too, but it's so important to just take even 5 minutes each day and do something you enjoy or that brings you peace.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. And then the other is, I go to therapy every week. I don't care if everything is going great. I don't care if there's a small problem, a big problem. I'm in therapy every week, because even when things aren't going well, there's so much, especially as a Black person and a woman, that I need to unpack from my past that's probably
Right.
still affecting me without me even knowing it. So like,
Right.
even though this week is great, there's still some stuff in there that we need to uncover and talk about. So I'm in
Absolutely.
therapy every single week. And then the other thing is just to be intentional. I have learned such a big lesson about that, because we can be such negative thinkers as human beings without
Mm-hmm.
even knowing it. So to literally insert positivity into your day, whether it's like having affirmations on your mirror,
Mm-hmm.
or driving down the street and you have a negative thought about yourself and you flip it and say, no,
Yeah.
that's not true. Let's talk about some positive things about myself. You have to be intentional about it.
You do. And that's so true, because I'll say even today, like, and this may sound crazy to some people, but I was having like a bad hair day. And I was in the mirror like, I'm about to pull a Sanaa Lathan and
Listen.
just shave it all off. And then of course I was just talking crazy to myself, because I'm definitely not doing that. And it was like, some people might be like, Shayna, really? But yes, really. Like, I really had to like gather my thoughts and get myself together, because it had me
Mm-hmm.
kind of like in a funky mood. And
Yes.
so, I did what I had to do, got my head together, made a hair appointment, and I was like, you're gonna be fine. And I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. But you are so right. There's so many things, big, small. So once something may be small to you is big to somebody else, and vice
Yeah.
versa. And it's all about just making sure that you're tapping into being intentional with your happy, and finding things like you said, whether it's 5 minutes a day or even things like being peaceful, because they say what busy is the new black. I say no, getting rest is the new black.
Thank
Being
you.
at peace is the new black, because I literally have found my best friend, she's a nurse, and she was saying like a lot of times they work so much, like she's a
Mm-hmm.
travel nurse, and how sometimes her and one of her friends out there will just have like a night to watch a movie. And I was like, Shay, you
Yes.
know what? You need to start doing stuff like that, because yeah, we'll kind of get in front of the TV and fall asleep and it ends up watching us.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, you've been wanting to see Invisible Man, go to the Red Box, get that movie, and have yourself a movie night. And that's exactly
Absolutely.
what I did. So it was like, as much as we do, whether it be, 9 to 5, I do with the podcast, other things I have going on. I'm like, no, some days when you get off work, you don't have to run around and do 50 million different things or run 80 errands. You can just sit still, work out, and then go watch some TV. Nothing wrong with that. So I definitely agree with that. And I think more people have to take hold of that in order to to have the happiness, whether you've dealt with depression or not. I think those are still great tips to make sure that we can keep our own peace of mind.
Absolutely. And let me real quick tell you something I've started
Hmm.
doing within the past few months.
Okay.
And my best friend thought I was crazy when I told her I was doing it. I had to explain it to her. Listen, I have literally started dating myself.
That a beautiful
And
thing.
I'm like I said, I always got something to do. But a few nights a week, maybe two, maybe three, if I do it on the weekend or something, I get myself some wine. I'll buy myself some food, pick out
Mm.
a movie or two, and I'm sitting on this couch getting wine drunk
Yep.
and while laughing at the movie, maybe turn on some music and dance by myself. Listen, because
I
you just
love
need
it.
that attention for yourself.
You do, and I love it because you hear so many people just say like date yourself. It's almost like when they say love
Yeah.
yourself. I wasn't able to tap into that until a few years ago. But dating yourself is exactly it, what you just said. And I think we have to be more intentional. And I think the same way, because like I said, I'm a planner in my life. I'll write out what I'm gonna eat for the week. I'll write out when I'm gonna work out, but I don't write out,
Mm-hmm.
like Monday, order in, watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, maybe cook, drink some wine, things like that. Wednesday, do this. Not saying we need to be busy every day because we talked about our rest, but being intentional with setting that time aside for yourself. So even if you don't want to call it dating yourself, make sure you take that time for yourself to do special things because we all see it online. I can't wait till I get a man to do
Mm-mm.
this. I can't wait till I get a man to do that. And mind you, COVID has changed a lot of our routines because
Absolutely.
2020, this is the most I've sat in the house. I am a traveler. And so I've had to get reacclimated with life.
Yep.
So I definitely love that. And I recommend for the listeners for you all to date yourself, spend time with yourself. Excuse me. And it doesn't mean that you have to just sit there and read a book. It doesn't mean that you have to watch a movie. I'm sure if you put Google right now, things to do in dating yourself or things to do when spending time with yourself, you can come up with a plethora of things. Like I recently got back into rollerblading. And
Oh,
it's been, awesome, of course, for weight loss and just for things for me to kind of clear my mind because when I do it in the evening because it's so hot right now. I usually do it closer to like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. But if I don't have somebody to go with, I'll just go by myself. And it's a great way to exercise. I don't need a group of people. This is me, just again, putting that time in with myself.
yeah.
And I think that's so intentional. So something so true we have to stand on until we get a relationship. But also you want to have those things in place so that even once you get in a relationship, that you don't lose yourself in the relationship.
Exactly.
Because once we get a guy or girl, because men are guilty of it too, our whole world, especially in the beginning, gets entangled
Mm-hmm.
in them. You eventually balance it out, but I think you have to have those things in place. So I definitely love that idea and I love that reminder. And I'm absolutely today, when we get done, I am going to start making my own little list of things that I want to do. And something else I recommend people do, I have to get back, I'll get back to it once outside kind of opens back up. But me and one of my girlfriends would pick different restaurants in Nashville because we have like a new restaurant that opens at least every weekend. And we
Oh,
would pick different restaurants on like a Monday night and have like our own little ladies' night and go out for dinner and drinks at these new spots and test them out. That
yes,
way,
ma'am.
it's like date night with the ladies. I don't have to
Yep.
go for a man. Or I take myself because I don't mind going out with myself anyway.
Yep.
So we love it, love it, love it. Now I do want to ask this question. This is more of a fun topic. Since you're in the position, in the entertainment world, I want to ask you a few trivia questions, or rather, I'm going to throw out a few names, and I want you to just share. I want you to share your open and honest thoughts about these people.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, you might guess this one. Kanye and the Kardashians, or Kanye and Kim. What are your thoughts on that whole scandal going on right now?
Oh, wait. So I'm really big on I'm really big on letting people do what they want to do as long as it
Hmm.
doesn't disrespect me.
Okay.
And I think that's a perfect example of that. Like let those people live their lives.
Right.
However, the the biggest pet peeve for me, because I know I would be pissed about it if it happened in my situation, is the publicity of like
Mm.
Kanye tweeting things that are happening in their relationship. Listen, honey, you
Or
do
giving
that.
speeches.
Listen, you do that, and I don't know if we need to be in this relationship. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. When you start showing out and sharing family secrets.
Yes, don't do that.
I can agree with that one. I think that I am not a clinician by any standard, but just on the outside looking in, it does look like, I saw somebody say this. I don't know if Kanye really is bipolar or needs medical help, or if he's really just out here telling the truth. I don't know which one it is, but it looks like he might need some help from somewhere. Because he just seems so like, I don't know, spastic is the word, or spacey. Like, one minute he's trying to run for president, the next he's talking about a possible abortion, the next he's apologizing, then the next he's saying they're trying to put me in an insane asylum. Like, I don't know, but I agree with what you said. Family business is family business, and I'm all about the privacy of what we have going on, and let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to log him out of his Twitter account. He's bad as Trump on Twitter. All right, up next, this one, Will and Jada.
um Again, I'm like, it's their life, their marriage. They let them do what they're gonna do. I think, I'm not saying that I would make the same arrangement as other people make, but my only concern once we make an arrangement is that we honor that arrangement. So as
Yeah.
long as you honor that arrangement, I don't see anything wrong. If you disrespected it, then y'all got to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. And I said that from the beginning. I think that I was very surprised that they even came out to make a statement at all. I think the only reason they probably did is because Jada has this whole show where people have to confront their demons. So it's like, you got to confront yours too.
Right.
You can't be a hypocrite, and I think that's the only reason why, because outside of that, I was like, they are allowed to do whatever they want to do in their marriage or when they were separated. And, everybody had kind of been speculating for years that they went through something like that, but they never spoke on it, which I don't feel that they have to. Some people feel like celebrities are obligated to. You don't have to. We were all out here guessing up until that point. But once they said it, and some people still may not agree with it, but it's their life to live, and they've made a decision to be life partners and move forward together. So all I can say is to each his own.
Yeah.
May the odds be ever in your favor. That's it. All right, and the last one is Sierra and Russell.
They're so adorable.
They are.
They are so cute, and I can't say that I would go for a relationship that adorable, because I don't know if that's just the type of person I am, but I'm happy for them. If they happy, I'm happy. They are adorable.
They are. I'm happy for them too. And I just happened to come across something on Instagram though, like welcome home for the new baby.
Yes,
and they
that
had
was
all
cute.
the balloons and the treats, and I'm like, oh, if I decide to pop one out, I need a welcome home like that. Now I get the money is a lot different, but I just think they are a couple that the love seems genuine.
It does.
I think, and the energy, I would be very surprised. Sometimes we see things like this and then we look up 10 years later and they're like, oh, so-and-so is getting a divorce, but we're going to remain friends. It's like, what? Like,
I would be shocked.
Super shocked. So, again, they're human, and, I hope that their journey continues on. They are super cute, and I love everything that they are about, and hope that they stay on the straight and narrow. We don't need no scandals from them right now. None. So all of that said, walking away from this, what would you want the listeners to walk away from on this episode? If it had to be just one thing amongst everything that we talked about.
Ooh, I would say that I would want them to know that whether you're in a relationship, whether you're about to get in a relationship, or you're just enjoying single life, be sure to take care of you and to know you. Because if you don't do those two things, then I don't know how great a relationship is going to be anyway.
Absolutely. Take care of you and know you, because if you don't know yourself, there's no way you can entangle somebody else in it. And if you don't, take care of yourself, it's going to be hard to take care of a relationship with the other person that's involved, because ultimately you have to take care of each other.
Exactly.
So I definitely love that. I second that. And this has been a super great, awesome, all the above conversation. And I want you to tell the listeners where they can find you on all platforms, website, whatever. Definitely let the listeners know now.
Absolutely. So the hub of my information is on Instagram. It's I am Mallory, IAMMALLORY. I'm on Twitter at I am Mallory _. You can find me on Facebook as well at I am Mallory. And like I said, all the links, everything you need to know will be there.
Wonderful, wonderful. So again, we are so excited. We were so glad to have you on the podcast. Your opinion is always valued and appreciated. Give yourself a round of applause.
Thank you
You
for
were
having
super
me
awesome.
on.
You are so welcome. Definitely will have you back on again because a lot of times these conversations we have, we have a window to do them in, but we always have something that we need to come back to.
Oh, for
So
sure.
again, we thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll be right back with the Montana Minute. We are now introducing a new segment to the podcast. This is called Living Single. We want you guys to send in any of your relationship questions, if you need advice, or if you just want to give feedback on the show on a topic that we've discussed. Feel free to DM them on Instagram to Shanna Montana, or you can inbox me on Facebook, Living Single, and we'll definitely be touching on these topics on each episode going forward. And now this brings us to the Montana Minute. The first thing, romance and relationships can be a beautiful thing when we allow things to flow naturally and not put so much pressure on ourselves. The next thing, too much pressure in any area isn't healthy. So just be more aware of how the world may tell you to apply pressure, even when it may not be what's best for you. And the last thing, mental health is real and so is normalizing it. If today's episode resonated with you in regards to mental health, keep going in the direction you need to in order to get the help that you need. So be sure that you visit our website at www.tobesingleornottobe.com, and I'll leave you with the question, yours to decide, to be single or not to be. Signing off, yours truly, Shanna Montana.